Tua and the Elephant, written by R.P.Harris. Chapter 2, The Other Side of the Wall. Tua put her foot through the hole as if testing her weight on the outer limb of a tree. "I'll just have a look," she said. Then, with a backward glance, she squeezed the rest of herself through. Straightened up to her full height on the other side, she cast her eyes about the busy street. The buildings were taller and grander. Some of them even had names, and they seemed to lean over the sidewalk as if inspecting the traffic, human and motorized, before selecting who or what they would direct inside them. They often chose badly, or so it seemed to Tua, for they spit out as many through one door as they admit through another. Perhaps they can't make up their minds, Tua supposed. There are just too many people and cars and motorbikes to choose from. And it was while she was musing on the flighty nature of large buildings that she found herself caught up in a current of pedestrian traffic. Tua didn't attempt to struggle out of this current any more than a leaf caught in a flooding gutter would have done, but allowed it to take her wherever it would. Before long, she found herself in a crowd of unfamiliar people, all of whom were much taller than she, so tall it happened that they blocked from view the landmarks she used to navigate the city by. When this human current stopped at last, she tugged on the nearest sleeve to beg assistance. "ขอโทษค่ะ," Tua said, begging the woman's pardon. But the face that looked down from the sleeve she was tucking was not a Thai face. It was a Farang face. A Farang is a creature from foreign land. It can be from France, or Germany, or Ireland, or England, or Sweden, or Fiji, or Italy, or Australia, or New Zealand, or Uruguay, or even United States of America. Tua had seen many Farangs before, but she's never actually met one. Farangs, unless they are unusually clever, don't speak Thai. The Farang whose sleeve Tua had been tucking was unusual in appearance only. "Oh, hello, honey," the big-nosed Farang said, lifting her bug-eyed sunglasses and leaning over Tua. Tua leaned back on her heels. "Sawadee ka," she replied. "I'm afraid I don't have any small change for you, darling," she said, and patted Tua on the top of the head. Tua bunched her fist and twisted her mouth into a frown. It is taboo and impolite to touch a Thai on the top of the head. The top of the head is the highest part of the body, spiritually as well as physically. Frowns pinched the heart, she remembered her mother saying, and immediately unwrinkled her face. "Oh, all right, dearie," the Farang said impatiently as she gave Tua a 20 baht note and dismissed her with a fluttering hand. Tua recalled what Uncle Sip had so often said about Farangs, that they were under the misapprehension that they were the wheel of life itself, rather than spokes like everyone and everything else. "Farangs are as noisy as frogs in a pond," he was fond of saying, "and puff up to twice their normal size." A 20 baht note is nothing to scoff at. It would buy 4 pounds of bean sprouts for one with bargaining skills. But Tua had no use for it. She no more needed money than a chicken needs teeth. Sometimes possessing nothing is like having everything. That was why she began to cast her eyes about for someone to share this small fortune with. But she was still imprisoned in a forest of legs and hips and stomachs. Suddenly, like a train leaving a station, this mass of body parts lurched forward on the signal of a changing light and carried its prisoner, Tua, with it. Escaping through the scissoring legs was impossible, and weaving around them only produced more legs, hips, buttocks, and stomachs. This mass of legs would stop from time to time, collapse into itself, pull apart again, and continue on its many-legged way like a giant caterpillar. "Ka. Excuse me," Tua said as she tucked the back pocket in front of her. "You're crushing me." "Thief!" the pocket cried out in alarm. "Pickpocket!" Those 4 syllables had the power of an incantation, for no sooner had they been spoken than the legs and their attachments scurried away in all directions like ants fleeing in monsoon. Tua found herself standing alone in an open square beside a fountain. This was not a fountain Tua had ever seen before. She turned in a slow circle, scanning the skyline in search of a familiar landmark. And just as she was about to swallow the lump in her throat, she swung her head back to the gray blur that her eyes had bumped over. Something vaguely, fuzzily familiar.